What's up, everybody? I'm here with Brittany, and she is a weight loss coach. She's an author, and she is an expert in emotional freedom techniques, so EFT, for emotional eating and weight loss. And I have her on here with me. She's one of our guest speakers at LadyBoss Live this year, so I'm super excited to have you on, Brittany.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to go to the event too.
Yeah, I know. It's like I'm counting down the days, and it's like I can't sleep at night because I'm so excited. Like, it's going to be the most amazing thing ever, and I'm just super, super stoked. So, real quick, like, tell us a little bit about your story. I know you've lost weight. You've dealt with a lot of emotional eating and kind of like a bad relationship with yourself. And tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. So, what I love about following you is that, when I hear the tips that you give and the advice that you give, I am so envious because I could never, when I was going through my struggle with food cravings, I could never just tell myself I'm going to be healthy and just keep telling myself that over and over to the point where it would change me. And I know that works. But for me, I struggled really bad with self-sabotage. And so I would do it for a couple of days, and then I would sabotage it. I'd stop doing it. I'd tell myself that it wasn't working anyway. And so when I was about 15, a long time ago, I was
actually like 22.
Thank you, darling. It's all the micro needling I've been doing. Love that stuff. So when I was 15, I was actually seeing a psychologist because my childhood wasn't too great. And he introduced me to this technique that looked really weird. I was like tapping on different points. And what happened was all of a sudden, like all the yucky feelings that were going on inside of me kind of left my body. And so every week I'd go back and I'd say like, hey, Steve, let's do that tapping thing. Let's do that tapping thing. So I became obsessed with this. Yeah. And then over the years, I learned how to apply that tapping technique and a few techniques that I discovered to my food issues and to emotional eating and self-sabotage. And so when I was working with this therapist, what he taught me the power of the mind and the subconscious versus the conscious. Yeah. And you probably already know this. Your students probably already know this, but the conscious mind is really only in charge of about 20% of the decision-making power on everything that you do. The subconscious mind has 80% of the vote.
Which is crazy, right? It's like literally crazy. Like, you don't even control yourself. You don't
control yourself. I remember I had this light bulb moment where I realized, holy crap, if I'm gonna get results with anything, I have to trick myself into doing it because I don't have strong enough willpower to tell myself every day, I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to eat healthy. I love myself. My body's great. Like, I couldn't do that. So what I did is I just dove into the subconscious mind and I read every psychology book. I took every training. I mean, I basically did everything alternative. That's the opposite from what a traditional psychologist studies. Right. Because what I realized, I went to school for psychology, and when I was in these classes, I realized that they were training us in a way that was not ever going to get anyone results. And so I just said, screw school. I'm going to create my own school, and I'm going to do my own studies. And over the years, it didn't come to me all at once. First I conquered my cravings, then I conquered emotional eating, and then I came up with a technique for self-sabotage. So it was probably a 15-year journey for me to discover all my techniques. But about 5 years ago, when I started my business, I finally came up with the system, right? To do everything, to really overcome emotional eating. And I love what you do talking about fitness and food and things like that. So we don't talk about that. We just talk about the psychology because what I find is that people who have this issue with self-sabotage or with emotional eating and can't force themselves to go to the gym or have this really negative internal dialogue, if they don't do this foundational work to change their subconscious mind, it's really difficult for them to implement techniques and, exercise and eating healthy and things like that. So what I always tell my students is it's kind of like the thing that you do before you really dive into it's always good to do an exercise routine, but for me, what I tell my students is do this work first, and then any diet plan you'll be able to stick to. Yeah. Because it's coming from a place of love and you've healed all the wounds that are causing you to sabotage yourself. So,
right. Exactly. So if you guys are out there and you are someone that struggles with emotional eating or you self-sabotage, let me hear a yes in the comments, because Brittany and I both dealt with this like in our own journey. And I feel like it's a point in the road. It is a fork in the road that every woman has to deal with at some point. On my end, you know, we get people into the program, get you rolling, and then you go through Ultimate Transformation Academy, which is pretty much exactly what you're talking about, the subconscious mind that you don't have control over. And it is that fork in the road that you have to deal with. It is something that you have to walk yourself through and overcome to actually have results long term. 100%. So, you know, there's so many of you that struggle with this too. And Brittany, so tell us, like, what is EFT exactly? Because you say like tap away your cravings, and I'm like, holy crap, like what is that? And if you guys want to learn how to tap away your cravings, comment yes. She's going to explain what EFT is.
Okay, so EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's actually a clinically proven technique. So back, you know, in the I think it's the early 1980s, there was this psychologist who also went to acupuncture school. And there's a really famous case study that just outlines this really beautifully, so I'll tell you about it. He was working with this woman who was afraid of water, and he was working with her for 15 years. And back then, old school psychology, actually, they're still kind of doing this. It's exposure therapy. So they say, okay, if you're afraid of water, we're going to introduce you to water little by little, and then you'll get used to it, and then you'll overcome your fear. Well, this woman had been in therapy for 15 years, and he was just kind of at his wit's end. So he had just finished his class. He came back. He was working with this client, and she was having this anxiety about the water. And while he was talking to her about her fear, he started to touch different acupuncture points, which this is a 5,000-year-old, you know, Asian study. I mean, the Chinese Asian culture has been using this for years and years and years. And it is connected to the meridian points, the energy system in the body, which is also connected to the brain. So we have studies now that show us what actually happens with the serotonin and the dopamine levels in the brain. But he didn't know this back then. So he started touching this woman's acupressure points. And all of a sudden, within like 10 minutes, she jumped up out of the seat she was sitting in. She ran out through the back door. He was doing therapy in his house. And she jumped into his swimming pool and started splashing around saying, I'm not afraid of water anymore. I'm not afraid of water anymore.
What?
Like, what the hell just happened? Are you kidding me?
Crazy.
Yeah. So he realized that it had something to do with the acupressure points, because he had never tried that before. And so that kind of started this journey of what EFT is. And it was later on, he took on a partner who developed basically a 9-point system that anybody can do to themselves anytime they're having any emotional issue. And that's a really big statement. So people like me usually will specialize in something specifically. So in my EFT, we call it tapping, because you actually tap. It's just kind of the nickname for it. You tap on different acupressure points. I'm known as the person who's the sort of expert in the weight loss category. So I've really researched how to use this technique. I've come up with my own techniques for all.
How do you use it for weight loss? Like, how does that, how do you bring like EFT and tapping, like, and losing weight and bridge those two things together?
Well, so we'll just take cravings, for example. What I discovered with cravings is that, actually, let's use you for an example. Like, this would be really cool. So, and everybody who's listening, you don't have to
do an example. Type yes in the comments. Like, yes, do it.
Kind of show you what I discovered, the theory behind this. So if you think about one of your favorite foods, like this is your all-time favorite food, can't keep it in the house. If you do, it's gone. Like, you think about it, you obsess about it. That you probably don't have this anymore, but if you go back and think about what that food was for you. Yeah. Now, I want you to think about, what are your earliest memories of eating that food? Who did you used to eat that food with?
Yeah, like,
so 9 times out of 10.
My mom.
Your grandma and your mom. What's the food? Can you tell me?
Cookie dough.
Cookie dough. Okay. So what are the earliest memories you have of cookie dough? Like making cookies?
Like making cookies with my grandma, like making up the actual cookie dough, like pouring in the chocolate chips for her.
Yes. Okay. So what happens is, because this is such a good, positive experience, it feels so good when we think about it.
Right.
So when we eat the cookie dough, or when you eat that cookie dough, subconsciously you're flooded with these feelings of mom and grandma and home and
the serotonin.
The serotonin. Exactly. Yeah. So it's so simple. And this is actually what I'm going to be demonstrating at the live event. So I don't want to give away this.
Yeah, don't give it away.
But literally what you do is you can tell your subconscious mind, actually those emotions don't belong in the food. You can take the emotions out of the food and give them back to the person they came from. It's like reorganizing files in the filing cabinet, right?
Yeah.
You tell the brain, no, mom's love and grandma's love doesn't go in the cookie dough filing cabinet. It goes in the mom filing cabinet. So cookie dough just becomes cookie dough. People do this one time and they eat the cookie dough again. They're like, wait, it doesn't taste the same anymore. I'm like, yeah, because that's how cookie dough actually tastes. When you have all these really fun, good feeling emotions with the cookie dough, it makes it taste so much better.
It makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Oh my gosh. So you're going to be doing this live at LadyBoss Live. You're going to be doing like a live example, right?
And I'm going to be teaching everybody how to do this to themselves. So like, you don't need to pay thousands of dollars for therapy. Like you don't need to take tons of classes. That's what I love about this technique. It's so empowering for people.
You can do it like instantly, right?
You can do it instantly. And with every food, it just takes one time. So most people just have to do it one time, and their relationship, what it does is it doesn't take the cookie dough away. It just makes you be able to have a little bit without going overboard. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. You're not like drowning your emotions with cookie dough because the cookie dough makes you feel good, right?
Exactly. And, you know, if you think about our day-to-day lives, people are stressed. They have bosses they don't like. They have kids freaking out. Obviously, they're going to crave mom's love and that comforting feeling. And so most people don't understand that. They just think they have crappy willpower, or they think they can't do a diet. And it feels really bad. You know, you and I have both been there, and it sucks. And I'm so passionate about helping people break out of this like jail, because it really does feel like jail when you're in it.
Totally. So why are you excited to come to LadyBoss Live and speak? Because you're like guest speaking on stage. You're going to do like a 500 woman demonstration that I am super excited for. I'm going to be like in the front row doing it. Like, what are you excited about for LadyBoss Live?
I'm just excited to share this information with so many women. It's so freeing. You know, there's always the people that learn about this technique and they're like, they just want to learn everything about it. And so this technique has totally changed my life. Like I was a really, really troubled teen when I was younger, and like to be somebody now who can inspire other women and change other women's life, like that was a really, really big shift. And it's because of this technique. And so, you know, not everybody's going to fall in love with this technique, but for the people that do, it'll absolutely change their life. And it has a ripple effect. You know, when you change your energy, when you can change your self-sabotage, when you change your level of self-love, you know, you talk about this too. It has a ripple effect on everybody. You become a better example for your friends, for your family. Your kids see like that. Your kids are going to grow up in a better way. And so I don't know. I just think this is it's the most beautiful gift that you can ever give. I love that you're putting this together and inviting us to be there. It's just going to be like tons of awesome things that are going to change our lives forever.
Totally. Because like in what you're teaching, it's so like tangible, right? Like you can take that and you can implement it into other things in your life, like not just food, but pretty much like everything across the board. Like once you learn it, it could change everything for you, right? It's like
yeah, any problem you have with you know your partner, you can use this technique. If you have physical pain, back pain, knee pain, whatever, you can use this technique. If you're sick, you can use this technique. You know, any psychological or physical issue, you can learn to use this technique. There's a video online about it. So anyway, I have kind of my own specialized techniques. I don't really do traditional tapping, but I'd like everybody to learn the basics of it, because it's a great technique that's super simple that you can always do to change your life, and it's free.
Yeah, I'm totally excited to learn. Like I am so excited. I'm so into this. And if you ladies out there are excited too, make sure that you're getting your ticket to LadyBoss Live. Go to ladyboss.live. The event is already like 95% sold out. So make sure that you go get your ticket right now. It's going to be the most epic event ever. And you guys are going to hear straight from Brittany. She's going to take you through all of these techniques. So where there's will, there is a way to find a way to Dallas, Texas, right? October 6th, 7th, and 8th. Brittany's one of the amazing speakers that are going to be there alongside 4 other powerhouse women that I'm totally stoked to hear from too. So if you don't have your ticket yet, go to ladyboss.live and get it. Brittany, thank you so much for your time. I can't wait to, you know, be together in Dallas in October. And I'm pretty sure we're just going to like blow the roof off. Like, I mean, it's going to be absolutely insane. Like 500 women in one place, like learning how to grow themselves, how to better themselves, how to finally overcome some of the stuff that we've been struggling with for so long.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be absolutely powerful.
I know. I do too. I'm so excited. Thank you for doing this. So
yes. Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see all of you guys at LadyBoss Live. Go get your ticket now, ladyboss.live, and we will see you in October.
Bye.
Bye.